Hey everybody, Jim Chester here. I have Pete Camiolo here with me. We are at Chiro Fest 2019. This is a co-branded Facebook Live here, Chiro Hustle over Pete's shoulder and Local Gold over my shoulder. So I want to say thank you to Natalie for having us out here and that team over there at Local Gold. They're just outstanding company. Check them out, localgold.com. But I also want to thank Paul Reed for having all of us out here for the Chiro Fest seminar. And first question for you, Pete, before I get into it, welcome to this interview, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. Great to be at Chiro Fest. And I'll just say this just to kick it off. So I was walking past Jim, and this just goes to talk about, I think, what we're going to talk about today, which is energy and state and mindset and how important that is. But I was walking past him, and I was immediately brought into this discussion with him that we had before this. But it was all about the energy. We found out after we started talking that I've been waiting to meet him for a few years now. So a lot of you probably know him, and I know of him. I know him from this platform, right through the web. But we were able to see each other in person. What was amazing was that it was his energy that I saw, that I felt, that I didn't even know that that's what it was, but in me. But I was available to receive it, to feel it. So I was able to come back around, and we had just amazing time of just connection. And now we're doing this, right? So now we're connecting here. So I just want to say it's an honor to be here with you today, and just grateful for what's about to go down.
Yeah, and we were talking about these amazing concepts of life and what it takes to get outcome, and talking about words of the year. And one of the words you shared with me was what?
Was surrender. So I do a word every year, and probably a lot of you do that. If you don't do that, I think it'd be a really powerful exercise for you to do it. And so each year I have a word, and this year in December I was thinking, okay, what's my word for this year? And my word was, the word that I received was surrender. When I got that word, initially I resisted. I didn't want that to be my word. I was hoping it would be something like abundance or crush it or prosperity or just something like that. But it was surrender, and I mean, being real with you, that I did not want that to be my word. I couldn't just handle it, but I couldn't shake it either. It stayed with me for a few days, and so eventually I wrote it on my whiteboard. I'm like, that's my word for the year. So what's crazy is one of my clients, after the year began, right on January 1st, January 2nd, sent me an email with a link to a message from this woman who lives in Australia, who's a prophet. So she's a prophetic person, which means she can see into the future, and she's connected to the higher source, higher power. And it was all about surrender. Now, she had no idea that my word for the year was surrender, no idea. I got that email and that word, and then in that document that she sent me, it was 1, 2, 3, 4. It was all these things that were directly speaking to me. But the thing is, I had to receive the word surrender. Mm-hmm. I had to surrender to actually receive it. And then once I received it, all of a sudden I got that email with this message, and then I wrote down a lot of the things that were in that message into my journal for this year that I continually revisit. And now I've watched this entire year. This is 2019. I've watched the word surrender manifest all the way up until yesterday. I'm on a mastermind with some of my clients, and the third question was about share a lesson that you've learned in your career, your chiropractic career as a business owner. And it started with, what was a lesson that you learned in your launch phase of your career? What was a message that you learned in your build phase of your career? And then what was a lesson you learned in your scale phase? And then if you've ever exited and you've, let's say, sold a practice and now you're back in practice, what was the lesson? So in lesson 3 or season 3, it was the scale phase. One of the guys said his thought was surrender. And then I went off on him. I just went into mode of, that mode where you're in the state and you're in flow. And I started sharing with him. I said, I started this organization of helping chiropractors become CEOs because it was actually birthed out of the foundation of surrender. I said, people becoming a CEO is actually a position of surrendering. You would think that it's this concept of climbing higher on the ladder. It's actually not that. It's the exact opposite. It's saying, I see the genius in everyone around me, and my role in my life is to shine the light on you. My role, my position as a CEO is actually to enable everyone else to rise and shine, because everyone has been given a gift. Everyone's gift and the value of their life is to share it. And for me, in the position I've been entrusted with as the owner of this business, is to help everyone around me, my team, the patients, the community, to rise and shine. And so I started sharing that with him, and then he sends me this podcast episode from Oprah, who does a podcast, which I didn't know she did a podcast. Anyway, I don't listen to it, but
podcasts are cool.
The podcasts are awesome. And it's from this pastor out in California who has a church called Agape. or this community called Agape, and he starts talking about how there are 4 stages of development that we go through in our life. And he says a lot of people get stuck in the first stage, and then if they make it to the first stage, they get to the second stage. And the first stage is victim, like you live a life in this victim mentality. He said the second stage is vision, where you're manifesting things. But the third stage, he said, is surrender. And I was just like, whoa. Because I realized that as we go through our life, you are going to get to a point where you might have it all. And I've been so blessed. I'm a chiropractor. Already I'm a rich man, right? I'm abundant. Like I have everything that I need, right? Because I know the truth about health, God's laws of health and healing. I mean, there's no greater wealth that we could have than just to know the big idea, and then the big idea to possess me, and then to be able to share the big idea, and then help other people get the big idea. Are you kidding me? We're rich. We're all rich. We're abundant. And I've been blessed beyond that. This, in material sense, I've got an amazing wife. I've got 5 amazing children. I've got amazing businesses that I've had. I've worked with amazing people over the years. I have amazing clients. Like all these things that are amazing. I've built my dream home. I've had all these things, experiences traveling the world. Being on stage is speaking and inspiring chiropractors, which is one of my passions. I get all that. I've had all that. I have all that. And here's the thing. There's something even more. There's actually more beyond even that. And what I've discovered in these most recent years of my journey is, and when I got to the point of that point this year, was surrender. Is that even when you have it all, until you actually have the capacity to release it all, it possesses you, you don't possess it. And where true freedom in life comes, true freedom, which I believe is what we all really are after, it actually comes when you can say, I'm good. I have everything that I need. And everything that I need is already inside of me. And we teach this to our patients, right? When a patient comes to a doctor's report, what do we say to our patients in doctor's report? We say, listen, I'm going to give you the keys back because you handed them over to your insurance company, or you handed it over to your primary doctor, or you handed it over to your mom, who's still, the things that she said to you are still dictating what you do today because she was influenced by somebody else who didn't necessarily know the truth. Whoever you handed over your control of your health to, your beliefs, my job today, as a good doctor, because the word doctor means teacher, is actually I'm just going to go ahead and give you the keys back to your car, the vehicle that you've been given, that God has given you, for a mighty purpose, for such a time as this. That's why you exist. I'm going to go ahead and give that back to you, and you're going to be amazed at the amazing things that are going to happen in your life. That's what we get to do as a chiropractor. Every single person that comes into our world, we're giving them their life back, real life back. It's a big deal. And there's a surrender that every patient has to do. They have to surrender their old beliefs, their old way, to receive the new one, right? And that's a big transformation.
Amen. And as he was saying all these things, one of my good friends said, may you get everything you want out of life and want it once you get it. Because that's a huge management skill set now. We have to get what we actually put our vision towards. And I knew that was one of the things that you did, is you built this grandiose vision that I'm going to get this beautiful wife, I'm going to have this beautiful family, I'm going to buy this beautiful practice, I'm going to build my dream home. And then when you get there, now what do you do once you have all that? And that's what we're talking about today, is surrendering to the fact that achievement is in seasons of life. We go through this uprising of becoming this rebellious young man. And we do everything to break the rules. And then we realize that through doing the right things, we come into our own stance. And then we start seeing the gifts of education and being a collegiate scholar and then being in service. Yeah. And then we learn those things. And then as we start achieving more, we get a few of these grays in our beards. And then we start realizing that, wow, I'm a very positioned man. Now what can I do to give it all back to people?
Yeah. It's a journey that we're all on, of discovery, of becoming. It's another word that I'm really focusing on, the concept of becoming, which is there is more, right? There's more to become. There's more to discover about who you are, about who other people are, and then there's so much more to help other people discover. Then it becomes this almost gamification of, I get to help other people discover more about who they are. That's an amazing challenge and opportunity all in one. And that's a mindset, right? That's a mindset that we have to see ourselves that way. We say the leadership question in our program is, the question is, who do I need to become, right? Who do you need to become? When you think about, as a husband, who do I need to become to be the best husband? that I need to be. When I think about my kids and my 5 children, and each one of them need a father, but each one of them need a father to show up in a unique way because they're 5 unique people. So the question, and I could be easily overwhelmed by that, right? I could easily be like, well, no. So I can ask myself, God, who do I need to become to be the best father for Noah? Who do I need to become to be the best father for Christian? Who do I need to become the best father for Bella or whatever? All of my children, and then I can do that for my team. Who do I need to become to be the best leader on my team for my front desk check-in CA? Who do I need to become to be the best leader for my associate doctor or whatever? You start naming that, and then you start thinking about the clients and the patients you get to serve. When you start getting that level of specificity when it comes to who you're becoming, watch out. Amazing things begin to happen in your life. You start to there's a transformation that begins happening in you first, right? The transformation happens internally first, and then we see it on the external. That's a question that I think we all can ask ourselves is, who do I need to become to be the best chiropractor, to be the best healer? Because you're not a chiropractor, you're a healer. That's what you are. I mean, chiropractic is a profession, and being a chiropractor is a professional degree. But what you actually are doing is you're a healer because you are participating with that which already exists within every single person, which is the human potential to heal. And so we don't possess that potential. We steward that potential. And then as doctors, we are people that help other people steward that potential. That's why we chose to become what we do, right? Because you are now entrusted with the capacity to help other people become what they were created to become, which is a healed person, completely and totally healthy. It's amazing, Jeff.
So I'm going to do a pattern interrupt here real quick. If you guys are watching this and finding value in what Dr. Pete and I are sharing here, hit that heart button and love the heck out of the message. And just please do us one big favor and share this for us, okay? The more people that see this information, the more inspiration they will get, because what Dr. Pete and I are doing right now is we are sharing the truth. We're giving pearls of wisdom from experience, from walking the path to earning this position that we both have here today to share, and knowing that God is in both of our hearts. That's probably the one takeaway that all of you guys will just be able to just grab this right off of this digital feed right now, is just know that God is in all of your hearts as well. But as we transition through our interview today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about business.
Yep.
And I know that you created something really cool with Dr. Stephen Franson,
Yep.
and it's called The Remarkable CEO.
Yep.
And let's just kind of talk about kind of 3 pillars of that.
Yeah, so the Remarkable CEO is a program that we developed because we see in chiropractic, having been chiropractors and going through this, that there's 4 seasons of your career that you go through as a chiropractor. Season 1 is your launch. So whenever you go into practice, you go into business, that's your launch season of your career. The next season is build, right? So this is where you're, like Dr. Stephen always says, it's your head is down, your bum is up, and you're grinding, you're building, you're hustling, you're making it happen. But it's all depending upon you. It's a pound of your flesh, right? It's an hour of your time, and that's a beautiful season to be in. It's called build, and the goal during build is mastery, right? The 10,000 hours kind of concept that you're becoming a master communicator, you're becoming a master adjuster, you're becoming a master clinician, you're becoming a master, hopefully team builder, right? So you're doing all this and you're serving your community. But then there's a next season that we go through, and this is something that we see was a gap in chiropractic. We would talk about it, but we didn't have a language for it. We didn't have a way to describe it. And what we've landed on is the next season of your practice development is scale. That's the next season, is scaling. And the scaling is where you transition 2 things that happen. You go from you owning a job to owning a business, and a business has 3 very specific criteria. It's one of them is it's scalable. The second is that it's durable, and the third is it's transferable. So I'll just quickly go through what those mean. So a scalable business means that your business is actually functioning, but it can function without you, right? So you're still able to give and love and serve and make an impact and make an income, but it's not all dependent upon you, right? So that would be the definition of a scalable practice. A durable practice is you can give more, you can love more, you can serve more, you can make a greater impact and make a greater impact, even in your absence. So even if you're not there, it's happening. And then the last is transferable. The actual fact is every chiropractor has a life cycle. You're going to be in a career, but then one day you're going to need to exit that career, right? You're going to sell your practice eventually one day. That's going to happen. And if you want to do it gracefully and profitably, then you would have had to do the scale part. Because if you go from being in build to then trying to exit, and you haven't done the scale, you're actually selling a liability, because in the build phase, it's all depending upon you. So it's personality driven, person driven, and that's great for building character, but capacity has not been built. Capacity happens when we go into scale phase. That is then when we have the capacity to, at the appropriate time, if and when that time comes for the exit, that we'd be able to do it profitably and gracefully, which then means when I leave, this continues. That's legacy. And that's what we want. We say if chiropractic is as a big idea as it actually is, and I believe that it is, then I believe that it should go on beyond my lifetime. So even the dent that I made during my time, when I am not here, when I look back, I can see they're still hammering and we're still making a bigger dent. And that's legacy. And so that's where that fourth season comes in. And to be able to do that well, you have to be able to scale. So to be able to scale, there's those three keys. You have to make it scalable, durable, and transferable. So the first thing is turning your job into business. The second transformation that has to happen is an identity shift, where I shift from being an owner-operator to being the CEO. And being the CEO is what I shared about earlier. This is where you start as a leader, being able to help other leaders rise. You are one who's really good at shining the light on other people and exposing their worth and their value and letting them rise and shine and exposing their genius and allowing them to use the gifts that they've been given to make a difference in the world. That, to me, is what a great CEO will do. It's a position of surrender, going back to what we talked about earlier, surrender to raise up the people that are around you and to bring and attract those people into your life and then release them into their destiny. Right? That's the transformation I believe that that chiropractic needs. I truly believe that, Jim. I believe that chiropractic, and it happens, and it's happened. I think we need to happen, and I believe it needs to happen at another scale, and that's what Dr. Stephen Franson, he and I are committed to doing with and for our profession, and we're just excited to be here at ChiroFest.
Well, I don't want to take up too much of Dr. Pete's time. I know he has some seminars he does as well that I'd like to talk to him about. And then I would like to close up by thanking Paul Reed for bringing this all together, because without his vision and his ability to bring this house together and fellowship for the big idea of chiropractic, then this doesn't happen. These serendipity moments that I get here at Dr. Pete, they don't exist. So thank you to Paul for putting this all together. I know you and your team worked tirelessly to bring us all together for this big idea and this huge message, which is called chiropractic. And before we jump off today, let's tell people about the seminars that you help run and that you're a part of.
Yes, so I'm a part of an amazing tribe called The Remarkable Practice, and we are a coaching organization, and we are helping chiropractors in each stage of their business. So from the launch stage through the build, through scale, and even into exit. And so we have programs, online programs that doctors, you can be a part of, and you can have access to our tools and our trainings and our resources. So that's one amazing way that you can engage with The Remarkable Practice. Another way is you can be a part of live events that we do. We actually have an event coming up October 18th and 19th in Boston. And our focus at that event, it's called the Retention Immersion. So we're going to be double clicking on the retention elements of your practice. How many of you know that that's an area of that needs improvement in your business? I know it is. There's not a chiropractic clinic that can't grow in retention and can improve in that area. So we're going to be doing that in October on the 18th and 19th in Boston. And you can learn about more if you go to theremarkablepractice.com, remarkablepractice.com. You can also check us out on Facebook as well, The Remarkable Practice. We have an amazing private group, Jim, the Remarkable Practice group, which you can be a part of. And what I love being a part of that is every week I do a mindset live. I do what's called Monday Mindset. Dr. Stephen used to do it, and he asked me to be a contributor as well. So I've been blessed to do a mindset moment every Monday. So if you are looking for some extra mindset moments and kind of some motivation for your team, for yourself for the week, every Monday I go live in that group. It's free on our fan page, but then also in our private group. And then in that private group, amazing discussions are happening, and we do webinars in there and just free things for our audience in there. So that's another way you can engage with us. And of course, lastly, we're a coaching organization. So we work with chiropractors one-on-one, and we also work with chiropractors in masterminds. And we help, again, depending on where you're at in your season. You might be in the launch, you may be in the build, you may be in the scale, you may be in the exit. Depending on what season that you're in your practice, you can engage with us on that level, and we can help you in that journey. And we have just amazing tools, Jim, that help doctors. So it's not just a philosophy. It's not just a cool idea. It's not just, hey, go do this. It's a done with you It's a done with you journey. And from Dr. Steven and I and Dr. Mark and Dr. Malcolm, Dr. Bob, the other coaches and our amazing CA coaches, it's all about, it's from scar tissue. That's what Dr. Steven always says. We teach from scar tissue. You don't need a travel agent. You need a tour guide. You need somebody who's going to go with you, like a Sherpa who's walking up the mountain with you. That's what we do. And so that's what we love about what we get to do.
Well, love you, brother. I'm just going to go ahead and close out once again by giving you a big hug. And I just want you guys to know that ChiroFest 2019 is happening right now out here in Vancouver, Washington. And if you guys didn't make it this year, make sure you get here next year so you guys can jump on the air and do a cool interview with Chiro Hustle. But you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll see you guys on the next interview. See you soon.